The preseason is finally over. Real football is right around the corner. And I've learned 5 things about these Denver Broncos throughout training camp and throughout these boring 3 preseason games. I'm going to share them with you right now. All right, what are my 5 takeaways about the Denver Broncos after 3 preseason games, after a couple of joint practices, and after I got to spend about a month out at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit, watching, observing, taking in everything that this team has to offer? What are my 5 observations? Well, let's start with the good. Let's start with the real good, in fact, and that is Nix and Courtland Sutton. The duo is dynamic, and they're back. Doesn't look like they're going to miss a beat at all. Courtland was, a little mini hold-in. I don't know what you want to call it. Waiting for his new contract. Not fully participating. Participating in team practices, drills early in training camp. And it turned out that it didn't really matter that much. Because if you watch that Saturday's preseason game, I'm going to talk about 2 throws specifically. I guess I should talk about 3 because he has a touchdown. How do you not talk about that? But how about the big 43-yarder? We know that, but there was a back shoulder throw, second drive. It was an 11-play drive. They ended up having to settle for a field goal. That's actually why they came back out and did another 6-play drive that led to the touchdown between Bo and Courtland. But it's a back shoulder throw. And I'll go watch the all 22. Everybody loves to talk about how they watch the all 22. But you can go watch that all 22 film. And I want to see if there was, maybe it's as simple as a quick look, a pat to a thigh pad, a wristband, something. I mean, heck, maybe it's a wink, right? Something that they're doing between one another. But on that play specifically, the back shoulder throw that led to a first down, second drive for the Broncos. Both Bo and Courtland noticed something about the defense. And I've said it before on this show or radio down the hall when I'm talking about a quarterback and a coach looking at the game, specifically the defense, through the same lens. Can they dissect a play, a game, a defensive look in real time and see the same thing? You need your coach and quarterback to do that for obvious reasons, but you need your quarterback and wide receiver to do it for the reason that we saw that play work on Saturday afternoon. You need a first down. You have a cornerback that you know is playing a little bit off, giving a guy like Sutton too much room, thinking that maybe it's going to be a deeper route than it actually is. And you know the safety is too deep on his positioning that he's not going to close the gap and get there before the ball hits Courtland right between the numbers. And I want to see if there was something. And if there wasn't, maybe it's an unspoken, agreement that they just both acknowledge and don't even have to play their hand. That's next level stuff that we're talking about. I hope it is that. But they both recognize that the safety's in the wrong spot, that the cornerback's given too much of a cushion, and they know they need a first down. So what do? Courtland Sutton runs the great route. That's what they do at camp. That's why I was doing it. He runs the great route. There's no tell. I've talked about that before. Watch Marvin Mims. When he's going to run that comeback route, you'll hear him start to slow down, and then he ducks his head. That's a sure sign that he's going to turn around and he's wanting the football. Sutton doesn't do that. Marvin will fix it, and Sutton certainly didn't do it there. He knew right where the marker was. He knew when that space would close between he and the corner with the gap that the cornerback was giving him, and by the time he turned around to catch the first down ball, he turns around, and that thing's literally hitting him on the shoulder pad. And he gets there to catch it. It's a great unspoken bond. So 14-10, picking up right where they left off. It was beautiful football to see. Beautiful football to see. So Courtland Sutton, I think he's still right around there, a 950. Maybe he goes 1,000 yards again this year for a guy like Nix. That's the biggest takeaway. That duo, they're right where they were when we ended last year in Buffalo. Second observation, I don't feel like this is that popular. I guess you can tell me in the comments. I'm ready for Tyler Bidet, and I know that Jaleel McLaughlin is not going to get cut. Sean Payton gave him the day off. The dude got paternity leave in the NFL. I didn't even know that was a thing. Having a baby, didn't even have to make the trip. Awesome moment for him, and that means he's making this roster. But I know how the Jaleel McLaughlin movie ends. You know how it ends? A 2-yard gain and him getting tackled by a linebacker on the outside one-on-one. That's how the movie ends. I don't like that movie. Jaleel McLaughlin probably has room on this roster. Special teams, dude. I've talked about this before. You get Jaleel and Marvin as your kick returners. Who are you going to pick to kick to? It becomes a dangerous play in an otherwise kind of boring play that is kick return. But when it comes to that true RB3 and a guy getting opportunities in the game, move over, Jaleel. I'm done, man. It's Tyler's time. I want to see Tyler Bidet get more of those opportunities, more of those reps. Maybe it ends the same way. And Tyler can't break a tackle one-on-one on the outside. I know Tyler can run through the middle with a little bit more success than Jaleel. I know that because Jaleel's always looking to bounce stuff outside. So Jaleel McLaughlin's going to be on this team. I'm going to have to buy my radio partner Cecil Lammy a damn coffee because of it. But I don't need to see a lot of Jaleel McLaughlin. I want to see what Tyler Bidet brings to this football team. It's RJ, it's JK, and then it's some sort of split. Who has the hot hand between Jaleel McLaughlin and Tyler Bidet? But if it were up to me, I'd give the first look to Tyler Bidet. The other thing I'm worried about, and I've mentioned this a couple times, and I'm not going to get off of it until I'm proven wrong, and I want to be proven wrong. It's my questions about Sean Payton and staying right there with the running backs. Is Sean going to feature J.K. Dobbins and he's the workhorse? Is he going to feature R.J. Harvey and he's the workhorse? And then you have third down back type of player, a player that you trust more in pass pro than the other. Sean Payton having too many running back sticks in the fire is not a good thing for Sean Payton. I think it just does too much to his brain, and he's trying to do too much of, JK's really good in second and short situations, but RJ's really good on first down because he can break one off and get us to second and short, or whatever the case may be for Sean. I'm really, really worried about Sean trying too hard to make it even or get the most out of this certain running back in this specific situation, rather than just going out, picking a running back, and establishing an identity from the backfield. If he doesn't do that, this offense is going to struggle for a little bit until he does. I hope, like I said, I'm begging to be proven wrong that Sean Payton doesn't do too much or try to be too cute, if you will, with the running game. But I'm worried about it. Two guys that it's completely over for, well, one of them stays in that running back room, Audric Estime. I wish you luck, man. I hope that at 21 years old, your dreams are not dead. But they are with the Denver Broncos. You got to figure something else out, Audric. You need to figure out that this is not for long. Just because you went to a big fancy school in Notre Dame, that doesn't mean that you get an extended look in the NFL. I really, really am rooting for you to not lose your NFL chance, but you've lost it with the Denver Broncos. The second player is Damari Mathis. Damari's had a pretty long runway to get developed, and it just hasn't happened. Damari got beat by a tight end in the Arizona game 2 weeks ago. And he's just getting beat time and time and time again. This time it's from 2s, 3s, and 4s this last weekend against the New Orleans Saints. So Damari Mathis and Audric Estime, best of luck moving forward, fellas. I don't need to see you in orange and blue anymore. And last but certainly not least, could you trade any of these three players I'm about to rattle off? Now you got to cut down these guys are going to get cut. Well, two of them are going to make it, but their roles aren't that big. So should you be working the phones if you're George Payton? First up's who I was just talking about, Jaleel McLaughlin. So in my world, he's the fourth back. Rather than keep the fourth back as the, fire extinguisher, break glass in case of an emergency type of dude, why wouldn't you see if you could get like a Devon Vele, 4th and a 7th, 5th and a 7th for a dude like that? I'd make that trade. Again, I know I feel differently than some of you do about Jaleel McLaughlin, but I would do that deal. Sam Ehlinger is another one. It's probably already too late because the Broncos, it's the worst kept secret ever that they're not going to keep 3 quarterbacks like they did last year with Zach Wilson. So you probably can't get anything for Sam because everybody knows you're going to cut him, and then they just claim him via the waiver wire. The last player's name, again, that might have a role on this team. Now, knock on this, maybe this, whatever's made out of wood, that this doesn't happen. But if something were to happen to pass catcher number 2, that is Evan Ingram, is Lucas Kroll going to really close that gap? I don't know that he can. Lucas Kroll still is lost with assignment and alignment, let alone going out and beating his guy, catching a ball, and then getting upfield. That's way down the list. He doesn't know where he's supposed to line up or what his assignment is a lot of the time. That's not a good look for Lucas Kroll. Could you get a 5th, a 6th for a dude like Lucas Kroll? If you could, I might be interested in doing that, and then you just pray to the football gods that nothing goes wrong with Evan Ingram, and at least for the first 4 weeks while you wait on Nate Atkins to get right. So I'd work the phones a little bit, Georgie, do your thing. Let's see what you can do with this roster before you just have to lose a couple of these guys. Let's see if you can stock up and, get the cupboards nice and full for next April's NFL draft. Overall, I feel pretty good about these Denver Broncos. Didn't get a lot of answers with the running game because you don't in the preseason. They can't tackle during training camp. I know the defense is a top 3 defense. Can the offense be a top, let's call it 15, 16? Can they be on the good half of the NFL? If those two things can happen, this team's very, very dangerous. This has been Dover on Denver, and now I'm done.